When I walked into that conference room, they all thought I was just another tenant. My brother laughed first loud and cocky. Then my uncle joined in, that familiar smirk spreading across his face. Even my husband stayed quiet in his chair, eyes on the table. But what they didn't know was that I had already heard everything they were going to say that day. They didn't know I owned the building, and I had already decided what would happen to every single one of them. My name is Sarah Whitaker. For years, I was the family disappointment, the one who never quite measured up. It all came to a head at our family barbecue one sunny afternoon. I had set up a small table with my handmade jewellery, delicate pieces that caught the light like captured hope. My fingers were still raw from working late the night before. My uncle picked up a necklace, examined it, and burst out laughing. "Sarah, sweetheart, how many of these little things do you need to sell before you can afford real health insurance?" The whole table erupted. My brother raised his beer. $800 last month? That's what I tipped my accountant. My sister-in-law hid her smile behind her sunglasses. My mother looked away, embarrassed. My dad just patted my shoulder like I was still 12. I forced a smile, cheeks burning, soul shrinking. But in that moment, something inside me stopped asking for permission. What changed after that? Everything. I kept my accounting job during the day, but every night and weekend belonged to Lumina. I taught myself photography, built a simple website, and showed up at every craft fair. The first month I made $800, I cried happy tears in my car. Then it grew steady $5,000 a month, but every win felt fragile. I had 6 months of runway before everything collapsed and I'd be forced back to zero. That pressure never left me. There was one moment I'll never forget. A woman in her 40s tried on my Phoenix Rising necklace at a market. She touched it, tears filling her eyes. "This feels like strength I forgot I had," she whispered. In that second, I knew my work mattered, but at home, the mockery never stopped. At Christmas, my brother raised his glass. Here's to Sarah still turning arts and crafts into a career while the rest of us build real lives. Laughter filled the room. My mother sighed. "Your cousin made partner. Your brother bought another house. And you sell pretty stones online." But the worst part wasn't what they said. It was what they did next. I had landed a meeting with a major investor who believed in my story. I was glowing with excitement. For the first time, I shared the news with my sister-in-law over coffee, hoping she might finally be happy for me. 2 days before the meeting, the investor called and cancelled. When I gently asked why, he admitted the truth. He quoted my own uncle word for word, "She's not serious. It's just a hobby. Don't risk your money." My sister-in-law had told him everything. She didn't even deny it when I confronted her. "Someone had to be honest, Sarah. You were going to embarrass the whole family." I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. This wasn't just doubt. This was sabotage from my own blood. I didn't lose that deal because I failed. I lost it because someone closer than me picked up the phone and buried me. And that was the first time I stopped crying and started planning. After that, family gatherings became unbearable. I pulled away completely. Michael's silence hurt the deepest. "Their family, Sarah let it go," he'd say, never once standing up for the woman he married. I stopped sharing my wins. I stopped explaining myself. Instead of begging for their support, I turned every drop of pain into fuel. I stopped telling them what I was building and started building louder. But I wasn't building just a business anymore. I was building a new version of myself. The growth came step by step, fueled by that urgency. We hit steady 5-figure months. I hired my first employee, a single mom who saw the same light in my work that I did. Then 3 more. We moved from my tiny apartment into a real workshop. A major wellness retailer picked up the full collection. Then a celebrity wore my signature necklace on national TV. Orders flooded in. 7 figures became reality. I started quietly buying small commercial properties, smart, strategic moves no one knew about. I poured everything into Lumina threads, creating not just jewelry, but a community for women who had been told their dreams were jokes. There was one building I kept coming back to more than any other. The sleek downtown tower where my brother worked on the 6th floor, where my uncle's insurance agency rented prime space on the 4th, and where Michael's marketing firm took up half the space. They bragged about that prestigious address constantly. They used that building to feel successful. I started using it to observe them. I didn't buy that building because I wanted power. I bought it because I needed closure. It took almost 2 years of lawyers, late nights, and absolute secrecy. I bought the entire building. Cash. No one knew the new owner's identity, not even the building manager, until the final papers were signed. The day I signed, I didn't celebrate with champagne. I just sat in my car in the parking garage and waited. They still walked those halls every day feeling untouchable. My brother in his corner office, my uncle shaking hands in the lobby, Michael in his meetings. They had no idea the woman they had laughed at for years now held the keys to their world. The tenant meeting was called to discuss the new landlord's changes. I stood outside the conference room, heart steady, wearing one of my glowing Lumina pieces. For a second, I almost didn't walk in, but then I remembered every laugh, every dismissive word, every time they tried to bury me. I opened the door and stepped inside. Silence hit like a wave. My brother's face twisted. "Sarah, what the hell are you doing here? This is a private meeting." I walked to the head of the table, calm and composed, and sat down. "Actually, I'm the new owner of this building." The silence was deafening. My uncle turned beet red. My sister-in-law's mouth fell open. Michael looked like the floor had dropped out from under him. My parents, who had come for what they thought was a casual lunch, stared in shock. I slid the new lease terms across the table. Market rates. No more sweetheart deals. Professional standards. My brother exploded. "This is revenge? You're destroying your own family over some stupid grudge?" I looked at each of them slowly. "You spent years telling me to get a real business. So I did. That business just bought your building." No shouting match followed, just heavy, crushing silence as the reality sank in. The consequences came quietly but powerfully. My uncle's agency couldn't handle the new rent. They relocated to a smaller, less prestigious space. My brother's company downsized. He lost the corner office. Michael's firm struggled. He was let go and ended up in a much smaller role. And for the first time, I didn't feel angry, just empty. They reached out calls, messages, my mother showing up in tears. "We had no idea, Sarah. We're so sorry." I forgave them, not because they deserved it, but because I refused to carry their doubt any longer. I invited them to my flagship store opening. They came. They saw hundreds of women glowing in my designs. They finally saw what I had built while they laughed. They laughed when I started. They mocked me when I struggled. They ignored me when I succeeded. And they only respected me when they needed something from me. That's when I learnt the painful truth. Some people don't believe in your dream until it becomes impossible to deny. So build it anyway. Rise anyway. Buy the building anyway. The people who laughed at your beginning don't get a vote in your ending. Keep shining, my loves. Your light was never theirs to dim.